Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around. Midday News coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Queen Agaba. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and free to air on Nigecomsat. The Minister of Works, Umahi, has set an April 2025 deadline for the completion of the ongoing dualization of the East-West Road section from Ahwada to Kayama in Rivers and Bayelsa states. He made the announcement in a statement signed by Mohammed Ahmed, Director of Press and Public Relations, on Thursday in Abuja following his inspection of the road project. He also confirmed that the construction of multiple box culverts in flood-affected areas along the East-West Road will be completed by the same April deadline. Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetoko has directed an immediate crackdown on those responsible for the explosion in Gazai Divisional Police Headquarters in Borno State, which claimed the lives of 2 officers on Thursday. First Public Relations Officer ACP Olumuyiwa Adejobi confirmed this in a statement in Abuja, revealing that the tragic incident resulted in the deaths of Inspector Bartholomew Kalawa and Corporal Mustafa Huzaifat. Following the attack, the IGP ordered the Assistant Inspector General of Police for Zone 15, Kenechukwu Onwemelie, to deploy all necessary resources to apprehend the perpetrators. He also directed close collaboration with other security agencies to ensure the culprits are brought to justice. The IGP expressed heartfelt condolences to the families of the fallen officers, assuring them that their sacrifice would not be in vain. The Minister of State for Labour and Employment in Kiruka, Onyejiocha, has affirmed that President Bola Tinubu remains committed to reviewing the minimum wage after 3 years. Onyejiocha further stated that the current minimum wage will undergo a review in less than 2 years. She spoke in Umuahia during a briefing after meeting with labor leaders in Abia, emphasizing that the president is deeply committed to the welfare of workers and is determined to fulfill every promise made to them. The Senate took on the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, over how much the federal government has saved and spent since the removal of fuel subsidy in June 2028. The President extended his condolences to the families of fallen defending the nation, he says, would forever be honored and remembered. The President, in a statement by his spokesman, Bayo Onanuga, called for a thorough investigation to uncover the circumstances that led to the incident to prevent similar occurrences. Imo State government has reaffirmed its commitment to defending the sovereignty of the nation. Governor Hope Uzodimma made this pledge while launching the 2020 Armed Forces Remembrance Day emblem at the Sam Bakwe Executive Council Chamber, Government House, Owerri. Our correspondent Amarachi Ibe has details.
The governor noted that the emblem symbolizes the nation's gratitude to the gallant men and women who put their life on line to safeguard the country's territorial integrity, stating his administration's commitment to a comprehensive approach in caring for the families of the fallen heroes. The event also provided an opportunity for the Imo State chapter of Nigerian Legion to appeal for increased support from the state government.
The event reminds us that the labors of our heroes past were not in vain. It also gives psychological reassurance and motivation to the serving soldiers to put in their best in the service of their fatherland, seeing that the living and the fallen heroes are remembered, celebrated, and their dependents cared for by the government and people of goodwill.
Similarly, chairperson of the Military Widows Association, Imo State Chapter, Joy Moses, expressed gratitude to the government for its consistent care and support for their members.
Honorable Commissioner, please help us to say thank you to her. She has chosen us as her project. There is nothing she will be doing without us. She encourages us. She empowers us. Please, we are very grateful.
A significant part of the event was the presentation of a brand new bus to the Nigerian Legion Imo State chapter by the state government.
I urge you to keep fit and keep doing what you know how to do well, supporting the government and protecting our environment, and by way of information, contacting the security agencies with useful information that will enable them do their work very effectively.
As the nation remembers its heroes, Imo State government continues to honor their sacrifices and support their families. Amarachi Ibe, reporting for Global TV News.
The federal government has said it is deepening its security partnership with the People's Republic of China for local arms production and military training. It says this forms part of its broader strategy to tackle terrorism and other insecurity within and outside its borders. Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs Yusuf Tuga stated this when he briefed State House correspondents after President Bola Tinubu received Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi at the Aso Rock Villa, Abuja on Thursday. Wang Yi is on a 4-nation week-long Africa tour, which ends on Saturday after stops in Namibia, Congo, Nigeria, and Chad. An Enugu State High Court has ordered that the scheduled election into the national office Ohanese Ndigbo worldwide be conducted without any interference. The Igbo Social-Cultural Group had set January 3rd, 2025 as the date for a fresh election for all its national positions. It has been proposed that Rivers State will produce the next President General of the association, Justice Orji. I beg your pardon? Justice Orji had earlier issued an order restraining Engineer Chidi Ibe, Mazi Okechukwu, Ishu Guzoro, and Chief Richard Ozubu, named as the 5th, 6th, and 7th respondents in the suit, from interfering with the electoral committee set up by the outgoing President General of the Ohanese Ndigbo, Nze Ozichukwu Chukwu. The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Committee urged the Nigerian Natural Medicines Development Agency to address the proliferation of regulated herbal drugs in the country. The ICPC Resident Commissioner for Lagos State, Kabir Elelu, made the call at a one-day training webinar of herbal mixtures by hawkers. Not the consumption of such substances pose severe health risks. Similarly, the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has disclosed that it has stopped the registration of alcohol since February as part of a campaign to cut its access to young people. Of the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention, NCDC, Jide Idris, has stated that the country is not under serious threat from the human metapneumovirus HMPV. Idris made this comment during a television interview, stating that the virus that is not well known. He further explained that just like the normal flu, all the viruses of influenza, the respiratory virus is just one of those causes of respiratory problems, causing illnesses ranging from mild cold-like symptoms to severe respiratory infections, particularly in young children, older adults, and individuals with weakened immune systems. You're watching the Midday broadcast on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. When Midday News returns, shake up as Sports Commission reassigns 57 Federation secretaries. We shall bring you those details as well as foreign and business stories right after this break. Please stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. If you've just joined us, this is Global Television bringing you live broadcast of the Midday News. In business, the Central Bank of Nigeria has suspended approvals for the extension of export proceeds repatriation on behalf of exporters, effective immediately. This directive, issued via a circular dated January 8, 2025, applies to both oil and non-oil export transactions. The Apex Bank explained that the move aims to enforce compliance with existing foreign exchange regulations. Signed by the Acting Director of CBN's Trade and Exchange Department, Dr. W.J. Kanya, the circular outlined provisions in the Foreign Exchange Manual as the basis for the decision. The Dangote Petroleum Refinery is building 8 more tanks in its bid to have enough storage for imported crude oil. A report by Africa Report has it that the refinery is ramping up its storage capacity by 6.29 million barrels, equivalent to 1 billion liters. The report stated that the $20 billion refinery is planning to stockpile imported crude oil as local supplies became unreliable. Officials of the refinery were quoted as saying that low crude supply from the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited is driving import dependence. Nigeria's inflation rate is projected to decline to 27.1% by December 2025. This is according to the latest NESG Stanbic IBTC Business Confidence Monitor report. This forecast offers a ray of hope to businesses and consumers struggling with prolonged economic difficulties, as it suggests that structural reforms are beginning to yield positive results despite lingering challenges. Inflation remains a central concern for Nigeria's economy, with rising fuel costs and currency depreciation driving up expenses across all sectors. On the foreign scene, the United States Supreme Court has denied a last-minute bid by President-elect Donald Trump to hold sentencing in his hush money case. The top court, which includes 3 justices appointed by Trump, rejected his emergency application seeking to block Friday's sentencing by a 5-4 vote. The court, in a brief unsigned order, said the burden that sentencing will impose on the president-elect's responsibilities is relatively insubstantial, and noted that Trump will be allowed to attend virtually. The court also noted that the judge who presided over the hush money case has already said he plans to impose a sentence of unconditional discharge, which does not carry any jail time, fine, or probation. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump has said that Russian leader Vladimir Putin wanted to meet and that a rendezvous between the pair was being arranged. He made the statement just a week and a half before taking office, following promises during his campaign to bring peace to Ukraine, which has been under Russian invasion since February 2022. Analysts have said that the deaths of 1,300 pilgrims during the Hajj in Saudi Arabia last year underscored the urgent need to mitigate dangers posed by extreme heat with crowd management and essential first step. Temperatures soared to 51.8 degrees Celsius in the holy city of Mecca last June as 1.8 million worshippers took part in the annual rite, one of the 5 pillars of Islam. Saudi officials say 83% of the 1,301 recorded fatalities did not have official Hajj permits and were therefore unable to access amenities meant to make the Hajj more bearable, including air-conditioned tents. It was a high-profile example of the havoc wrought by heat in 2024, which the Copernicus Climate Change Service say it was the hottest year ever recorded. South Korea's presidential security chief says there must be no bloodshed if investigators attempt to execute another arrest warrant for impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol over his failed martial law bid. Yoon has refused questioning and last week in a tense standoff between his guards and investigators after his short-lived power grab plunged South Korea into its worst political crisis in decades. Investigators seeking to question Yoon on insurrection charges linked to his ill-fated declaration of martial law secured a new arrest warrant this week after an initial 7-day order expired on Monday. South Korea's presidential security chief, who has been leading guards protecting impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol, has resigned. The country's interim leader's office made this known, saying an official from the acting president's office says when asked about the reported consignation, said it is true. Wildfires in Los Angeles have killed at least 10 people, and forecasters warn more high winds may fan the flames further. Los Angeles Medical Examiner confirmed 10 fire-related deaths on Thursday evening. Los Angeles County Sheriff Robert Luna says it hasn't been safe to reach many hard-hit areas, and the death toll is absolutely going to change. In sports, the chairman of Eyimba Football Club, Kanu Nwankwo, has condemned the armed robbery attack on the former boss of the club, Anyasi Agu. Reports say that Agu, who currently serves as Nigeria Football Federation Vice President, was on Tuesday attacked in his Abuja home by suspected armed robbers. The armed robbers who inflicted injuries on him were said to have carted away his belongings, which included his car, phones, and money. In a statement made available to newsmen in Aba, Kanu described the incident as unfortunate, urging security agencies to fish out the perpetrators of the ugly act. While praying for Anyasi's quick recovery, he called for a better secured society, especially to enable the football industry and other sports and social activities thrive in the country. The National Sports Commission has approved reposting 57 Secretary Generals and officers to various national sports federations, strategically repositioning the sports sector. The the NSC Director, Federation of Elite Athletes, Olumide Bamiduro, who disclosed this in a statement in Abuja, stated that the 57 Secretary Generals and 5 officers had already been reassigned. He stated that the decision aligned with the vision of the NSC Chairman, Shehu Diko, and the NSC Director, which was aimed at revitalizing the sector. In tennis, Novak Djokovic has claimed that he was poisoned by lead and mercury in his food during his troubled and brief stay in Melbourne in 2022 before he was deported on the eve of the Australian Open. The former world number 1 had his visa cancelled and was eventually kicked out of the country over his refusal to be vaccinated against COVID. He was held in a detention hotel as he fought a fruitless legal battle to remain. Meanwhile, world number 1 Jannik Sinner has said that he did not know when the highest court in sport would deliver its verdict, as ATP chairman Andrea Guendouzi stressed Italians in case was won by the book. Champion Sinner of the steroid clostebol in March. He was exonerated by the International Tennis Integrity Agency, which accepted his explanation that the drug entered his system when his physio used a spray containing it to treat a cut, then provided massage and sports therapy to the player. The World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA, appealed to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, and Sinner is awaiting the verdict with a possible suspension. And that's it on the Midday News on Global Television. A quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365, on Star Times channel 276, and free to air on Nightcomsat. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms using @GlobalTVNG and other handles now showing on your screen. I'm Queen Agaba. Thank you for and see you again.